The room was dark, cold, and silent except for the sound of slow breathing. Her breathing. She lay on a hard metal table, arms tied, body shaking. Her name was Rin. She had been there for 7 days. Or maybe more. She didn't know anymore. The lights never changed. The pain never stopped. Rin used to be a translator. She spoke 7 alien languages. She worked for the Human Peace Mission. She thought this was going to be a peaceful job. But now, all she wanted was to survive. Outside her cell, 2 tall aliens stood behind glass. Their eyes glowed. Their hands held metal devices. They didn't blink. They didn't smile. They just watched. "She is still alive," one said, voice cold and flat. "Good. Let's begin again." Rin heard the sound of the door opening. Her heart beat faster. Her hands pulled at the straps. Her mouth opened to scream again. But no one ever came. Not once. Not in all these days. The aliens never spoke to her. They only hurt her. Needles, shocks, cold water. Loud sounds that made her ears bleed. She wasn't a soldier. She had no secrets. But they didn't care. One alien stepped in. His skin was blue. His arms were long. His face had no mouth. Still, she heard his voice in her mind. "Do not resist," the voice said. "You are a test subject." Rin cried, weak and small. "Why are you doing this?" "Because humans feel fear," the voice answered. "And we must learn everything." He placed the device on her chest. The shock hit her like fire. She screamed, but softer now. Her voice was too tired. The door closed again. The aliens left. And once more, she was alone. Hours passed, maybe more. Rin couldn't move. Her lips were dry. Her body hurt in places she didn't know could hurt. She stared at the ceiling, blinking slowly. Her mind was starting to break. That's when she heard it. A boom dot far away. Then another. The walls shook. Sirens began to blare in the hallway. What's happening? She thought. An attack? Red lights flashed outside her cell. For the first time, the aliens ran. One dropped his tool and shouted something in a strange tongue. They were scared, truly scared. Another boom. This one closer. And then, silence. Her cell door opened. Rin turned her head slowly, expecting another alien. Another test. Another scream. But it wasn't an alien. It was a man, a human man. He stood in the doorway, breathing hard, blood on his face, holding a smoking weapon. He wore old armor. His hair was messy. One eye was swollen shut. "You," Rin whispered, her throat dry. "Who are you?" He stepped inside, looked at her broken body, and cursed under his breath. "Name's Jake," he said. "And I'm here to get you out." Jake rushed to her side and cut the straps. Rin cried out in pain as her arms fell free. "They hurt you." "Bad," he said, voice shaking with anger. She nodded. I can't walk." He looked around, then lifted her gently into his arms. She cried out again. "Sorry," he said. "No time to be gentle." She looked at him. Why did you?" "Come," Jake paused. Then said quietly, "Because no one else would." They moved fast through the halls. Alarms were ringing. Smoke filled the air. Jake had placed charges around the facility before entering. Now the whole place was breaking down. Aliens ran in. Fear. Some fought back. Jake shot them without slowing down. His arms held her close, but his eyes were fire. He didn't speak unless he had to. Rin watched him. He wasn't like the soldiers she knew. He looked angry, wild, like a man with nothing to lose. They reached a stairwell. A guard stood in their path. The alien raised a weapon, but Jake was faster. One shot. The alien fell. Rin gasped. "You killed him." Jake looked at her. "They tortured you for a week. I'm just returning the favor." At the top of the stairs, they reached a door. Jake kicked it open. Fresh air hit her face. She almost cried. Outside was a dense alien jungle, strange trees, glowing bugs, and a path leading into the darkness. Where are we? Rin asked. Jake set her down gently and pulled out a small map. We're 20 miles from my ship, through that jungle. Rin looked afraid. I can't walk that far. Jake gave her a half smile. Then I guess I'll carry you the whole way. Behind them, the building exploded. Fire lit the sky. Screams of aliens echoed behind them. Rin looked at Jake. He wasn't supposed to be there, but she was glad he came. And now, for the first time in days, she had hoped that the jungle was quiet. Too quiet. Jake stood still, holding Rin in his arms. His eyes scanned the trees. His ears listened for movement. Something was wrong. He had done the impossible, broken into an alien lab, rescued a prisoner, and blown up half the building. But this was just the start. The forest around them was thick. The air was heavy. Strange animal sounds echoed far away. Shadows moved between the trees. Somewhere in that jungle, his ship waited. But first, they had to survive. 12 hours earlier, the mission didn't exist on any map. No one told Jake to go. No one gave him orders. No team. No backup. Not even a plan. He had only heard the whisper. Aliens are testing on humans. Off-world, deep in unmarked territory. The army said it was fake. Jake didn't believe them. He had seen what these aliens were capable of years ago. He lost someone, a teammate, left behind in another war. Jake never forgave himself. He promised it wouldn't happen again. So this time, when no one acted, he did. He stole an old shuttle, packed explosives, and vanished into deep space. Now Rin's body was weak. Every step Jake took made her groan softly. But she never asked him to stop. She knew they didn't have time. I can walk for a bit, she whispered. Jake shook his head. Not yet. You're not strong enough. She gave a small laugh. You don't even know me, Jake smiled. I know you survived a week of torture. That's enough. Suddenly, a strange clicking sound came from behind. Jake dropped low, pulling Rin behind a large root. His hand moved to his weapon. He didn't blink. He waited. From the trees, a black shape moved low to the ground. 6 legs, 2 glowing eyes. It wasn't alien military. It was something worse. A tracker beast. Hold your breath, Jake whispered. The creature sniffed the air, stepping closer. Rin was shaking. She had no strength left. Jake raised his weapon slowly. But just before the beast saw them, a massive vine from a tree snapped down and crushed it. Jake didn't move. He stared at the twitching body. Jungle's eating their pets now, he muttered. Good. Hours passed. Jake used his knife to cut a path through the thick plants. Rin kept asking about him. Why are you really here? She asked. I told you, he said, to rescue you. But why me? Jake stopped walking. He looked down at her, then said quietly, because I once left someone behind. I was too late. She died. And I swore, if I ever got the chance to save someone again, I'd take it, no matter the cost. Rin didn't say anything for a moment. Then she said, well, I'm glad you kept that promise. Later, Jake set Rin down under a large tree to rest. He checked her wounds. Her arms were covered in small cuts. Her back had burn marks. His hands tightened into fists. These monsters, he said, voice low. They didn't just test you. They enjoyed it. Rin looked at him. How did you even find this place? Jake pulled a small broken transmitter from his bag. This was sending a weak signal, hidden in a government report. Someone on the inside tried to warn us, but no one listened. Except you, Rin said softly. Jake nodded. I couldn't ignore it. I've been to their war zones. I've seen what they do to prisoners. But this, torturing civilians, that's not war. That's evil. He looked at her, eyes full of fire. And I kill evil. Suddenly, the jungle lit up with flashing blue lights. And gasped. They're close. Jake grabbed her and rolled behind a fallen tree. He pulled a small device from his belt, an EMP charge. He whispered, "This will fry their trackers." But only for 2 minutes. After that, we run. The lights got closer. They saw the outlines of tall alien soldiers, long rifles in hand, scanning the trees. Jake pressed the button. The jungle went silent. The lights died. The aliens shouted in confusion. Jake didn't wait. He ran. Branches scratched him. Mud splashed up his legs. He carried Rin like she weighed nothing. Behind them, angry voices screamed. Shots fired. Trees exploded. But Jake didn't stop. Finally, they reached the edge of a cliff. Below, a river roared. Through the rocks. I looked down. We'll die if we jump. Jake smiled. No, we'll live. But they won't follow. He wrapped his arms tight around her. You trust me? He asked. I don't know, she shouted. Good enough. And they jumped. They hit the water hard. The cold shocked her awake. Jake kept her head above the water as they were pulled downstream. They finally washed up on the riverbank. Jake coughed hard and laughed. Still alive, he said. Ian blinked. You're insane, Jake smiled. Yeah, but I'm not the one who tortured people for fun. He stood up, looked at the map again, then pointed. Ships 2 days that way, no more cliffs. But a whole lot of danger. He looked at her. You ready? Rin nodded. She was still weak, still scared. But something inside her had changed. She wasn't just a victim anymore. The jungle was alive. Not in the way trees sway or birds fly. No. This place breathed. It watched. It listened. It hunted. And it didn't like humans. Jake placed Rin gently on the ground, under a strange tree with red leaves that curled when touched. His eyes scanned the thick trees ahead. Fog moved low to the ground. The smell was sharp, like wet metal. We rest 5 minutes, he said, breath heavy. Then we move. Rin nodded. Her legs still shook, but she didn't complain. Above them, vines slowly twisted as if trying to hear their whispering. Flowers opened without sunlight, wide and hungry looking. Every sound, the creak of a branch, the chirp of a bug, felt wrong. Jake checked his map. We're about 15 kilometers away, he said. But we need to go around the hot zone. What's the hot zone? Rin asked, frowning. Jake looked at her. Where the jungle eats everything, including metal. They moved slowly. Jake cut through vines with his blade. He was careful. Too careful. This place made him nervous. And Jake wasn't the kind of man who got nervous easily. Rin followed. As best as she could, using a stick to walk. Her skin still showed signs of torture cuts, bruises, marks that hadn't healed. But her eyes were sharp now. She was learning to be alert. Suddenly, she grabbed Jake's arm. Wait. Did you hear that? He stopped. Silence. Then cracked. A loud, sharp sound behind them. Jake turned. Gun ready. Nothing. Then drip. Rin pointed. Jake, is that tree bleeding? He turned. Yes. Thick black liquid poured from a branch. Something had touched it. Something. Big. Then it screamed. Not an animal scream. A human scream. Jake's blood went cold. That sounded like a man, Rin whispered. Jake moved closer to the sound. Through the thick green, he saw something. A body, hanging upside down, caught in a plant that looked like a flower, but with teeth. It was a soldier. Not human. An alien scout. Half of him had already been eaten. Jake pulled Rin away. Don't look. She looked anyway. And she didn't flinch. I've seen worse, she said quietly. Jake nodded, impressed. You're stronger than you look. She answered, not strong, just tired of being scared. As they moved deeper, the jungle began to change. The trees were wider, the sky disappeared. Everything was green, glowing, and breathing. Then it happened. A vine snapped around Jake's leg. He hit the ground hard. Gun flying from his hand. "Jake!" Rin screamed. He reached for his knife, but more vines wrapped around him. The jungle had found him. It pulled him upward, toward a massive pod that opened above his head. Rin didn't think. She grabbed his dropped weapon and fired wildly into the sea. Vines. Sparks flew. The pod closed inches from Jake's face. He dropped to the ground hard, coughing. Rin ran to him. "Are you okay?" Jake looked at her, dazed, then smiled. "You shot a tree. You were going to be lunch. Fair enough." Later, as they rested again, Jake looked at Rin carefully. "You saved my life." She shrugged. "You saved mine first." He looked up at the moving branches. "This jungle. It's not normal. It's not just wild. It's smart. Alive?" Rin asked. Jake nodded. "Feels that way." "Then why are we here?" She asked. "Why didn't you land closer?" Jake gave a tired laugh. "Because this was the safe." Side. Rin blinked. "You're kidding." He shook his head. "The other side has more patrols. Gun towers. Traps. I chose monsters over machines." She looked around. "I think the monsters want to eat us." Jake looked at her with a smile. "Let them try." As they walked again, something changed in Rin. The jungle scared her, yes, but now she was fighting to survive. She wasn't a lab rat anymore. She was part of the escape. Then she stopped. She heard something strange. A clicking sound. Jake froze. "Two. I know that sound," he whispered. "That's not the jungle." They crouched behind a thick root. Two alien scouts moved ahead, silent, armed, scanning the forest. Jake pulled out a knife. His gun was almost out of charge. He looked at Rin. "Stay here," but Rin shook her head. "You have one weapon. Let me help." Jake was about to argue, but she was already moving. She grabbed a small stone, crawled to the left, and threw it into the bushes. The sound made one of the scouts turn sharply. Jake took the chance. He leapt out and struck the other scout fast and hard. The second one fired, but hit a tree instead. Jake threw his knife. The scout dropped. Silence returned. Jake walked back, breathing hard. "You did good," he said. Rin looked at him. "You really think so?" Jake smiled. "You're becoming dangerous." The jungle hissed in the distance. Rin leaned against a tree, tired but proud. Jake stood beside her, still watching the trees. "The jungle doesn't like humans," he said quietly, "but I don't think it likes aliens either." Rin looked at him. "Then maybe we've got one small chance." Jake nodded. "And that's all we need." The human who had carried her through fire, mud, and death was now dying in front of her. Jake didn't speak. His eyes were shut tight. His chest moved slow. Too slow. His skin had gone pale, and his neck had strange red lines crawling up under his jaw. Rin pressed her hand to his forehead. Hot. Burning. She looked around the jungle. No doctor. No help. No time. This man had risked everything to save her. Now it was her turn. But she was no soldier, no fighter. Just a weak translator with no training. Still, she couldn't let him die. Not him. Not now. 1 hour earlier, the sun had finally broken through the trees. For the first time in days, warm light hit their skin. Jake smiled. "We're close. Maybe one more day of walking." But he stepped wrong. A strange root snapped under his boot. Something sprayed from the ground. Jake froze. That wasn't a root. Seconds later, he coughed. Then again. Harder this time. He fell to his knees. Rin ran to him. "Jake?" His eyes were red. His nose bleeding. He tried to speak, but no words came out. Rin caught him before he collapsed. She looked down and saw the root he stepped on cut open. Oozing yellow mist. Poison. Now Jake lay under a thick tree, his breath weak. Rin checked her pockets. Nothing. No med kit. No medicine. No way to call for help. She looked at the jungle. Around her. The place she feared. The place that tried to kill them. Every step. But now she had no choice that she would search it, learn it, use it, or Jake would die. She tore off her jacket and covered his body to protect him from the bugs. Then she grabbed her small knife and moved into the trees alone. Each step felt like walking into a nightmare. But she kept moving. She remembered alien words from her training, old field guides, warning signs. One word came back clearly: Siraka, a jungle plant with fire-red leaves, used by some alien tribes to treat poison. She needed to find it fast. She climbed over fallen logs, crawled under twisted roots, and crossed a stream filled with glowing fish. Bugs landed on her arms. One bit her, and her skin went numb for a minute. She kept going. She was no longer weak. No longer scared. She was angry. Angry at what they did to her. Angry that they broke her body and called her useless. She was going to prove them wrong. Finally, she saw it. A patch of fire-red leaves in the shape of sharp stars. It looked like it was breathing. She reached for it and froze. A hiss. To her left, a long creature slithered through the grass. It had too many eyes and no mouth. A jungle snake, venomous. Fast. It moved between her and the plant. Rin held her knife tightly. She had never used it before. Not like this. The snake rose up. Its eyes locked on hers. She didn't run. She didn't scream. She waited. Then, with one quick breath, she slashed forward. The blade cut clean through. The snake twitched and fell. She was shaking, but she was alive, and she had the plant. Back at the tree, Jake was barely breathing now. Rin crushed the leaves, mixed them with water, and poured the liquid into his mouth. She whispered, "Come on, Jake, you saved me. Now let me save you." She waited. Minutes passed. Then he coughed. His body shook. And finally he opened his eyes. "Rin," he said, voice hoarse. She smiled through her tears. "Don't you dare die on me now." Jake blinked at her, confused. "What happened?" "You stepped on poison," she said. "I found the cure." "You found Siraka? On your own?" She nodded. Jake stared at her for a moment, then gave a weak laugh. "Remind me never to call you just a translator again." Later, as he rested and the fever started to fade, he looked up at her. "You saved my life," he said, softly. Rin smiled. "Guess we're even now." "No," Jake said. "You passed me. That was brave." She sat beside him, watching the sky through the trees. "I'm tired of being the one people have to carry," she said. "I want to walk now. I want to fight back." Jake nodded slowly. "You're not useless, Rin. Not anymore. Not ever again." Far away, another alien scout scanned the forest. He picked up the crushed snake body. Saw the missing plants. He frowned. "The human girl," he whispered. "She's adapting." He turned on his comms. "She's alive. And now, she's dangerous." He used to watch her scream. Now, he was the one shaking. Dr. Yoren stood alone, far from his old lab, watching the jungle glow in the dark. His hands, once steady and proud, now trembled. Not from fear of punishment, from guilt. He had been part of the team that tested on humans. He told himself it was for science, for knowledge, for peace. But every time she screamed, something inside him cracked. And when she stopped screaming and just looked at him, broken, silent, eyes full of pain, he broke too. 3 days ago, Rin stood in the glass room above the cell. He watched as the guards strapped Rin down again. "She is close to collapse," one said. Yoring nodded. "Good, let's test neural override next." They activated the machine. Rin cried out. Then her eyes rolled back. She stopped moving. The machine beeped. "Too quiet. Too still." Yoren stared. "Turn it off." They did. Still no movement. "No heartbeat detected," the computer said. "Did we kill her?" Someone whispered. Yorin felt his chest twist. She wasn't a soldier. She wasn't a threat. She was just a translator. And now, maybe dead. All for nothing. "I'm done," Yoren said. He walked out of the lab that day. Disappeared into the jungle before the explosion came. Now he heard the rumors. A human male had broken into the facility, rescued the girl, destroyed everything. He thought she was dead. But she wasn't, and now she was coming. He had to find her. First, not to hurt her, to help her, maybe to say sorry. Jake and Rin walked slowly now. Jake was getting stronger, but not at full speed. Rin helped him walk. They were partners now, survivors. We'll reach the crash zone by nightfall, Jake said, checking his map. Ian nodded. If no one kills us first. Then a voice came. From the trees, I can help you reach it. Jake pulled his gun and pointed fast. Show yourself. A tall figure stepped out. Thin, pale, 4 arms, soft glowing eyes. Rin froze. She knew that face. You. She whispered. Dr. Yoren. He raised his hands. I come unarmed. I come in peace. Jake didn't lower his gun. Ian stepped in front of him. No, she said. He was one of them. I was, Yoren said. And I was wrong. They tied his hands just in case. Jake didn't trust him. But Yoren knew things, secret paths. Old codes, where the patrols were, where the ship was hidden. Ian kept glancing at him. Her heart told her to hate him, to shout, to hit him, but another part of her wanted to hear what he had to say. Later, they stopped to rest. Jake stood watch. Rin sat beside Yoren. He didn't speak at first. He just stared at the ground. Then he said, Do you remember when you stopped screaming? Rin didn't answer. He looked at her. That's when I saw the truth. You weren't just a subject. You were a person. And we broke you. You watched, she said. You let them. No, he whispered. And I will never forgive myself. But maybe I can still help you escape. She stared at him, quiet. Her hands clenched. Then she asked, Why did you stay silent all those days? He took a breath. Because I was a coward. A smart one, but still a coward. They moved again. Jake kept a close eye on Yoren, but slowly. Even he noticed the alien doctor wasn't lying. He avoided danger. He shared food. He even carried Rin's bag when she got tired. At one point, Jake asked him directly, Why are you doing this? Yoren answered, Because I watched monsters pretend to be scientists, and now I want to do one thing right before I die. Jake didn't reply, but he stopped pointing his gun so much. That night, they camped near a crashed escape pod. Yoren gave them both warm rations from an old pack. As they sat beside a weak fire, he looked at Rin. You will never forgive me, he said. Ian nodded. Probably not. But you came anyway, she said. I had to. He whispered. Then a sound broke the silence. A sharp hum in the air. Jake stood. Drones. Small alien drones flew overhead, scanning. Get down. Jake shouted. Too late. One spotted them. Sirens. Blasted. Ian screamed. They found us. Jake aimed. Yoren stood, pulled a small device from his pocket, and triggered it. Bright flash. The drones dropped like rocks. Smoke rose from the trees. Jake grabbed him. What did you just do? I used an override pulse, Yoren said, coughing. They'll think you're dead. But now they'll be hunting me. He handed Jake a small chip. This will get you into the hangar, where the real ship is. Hidden. Jake stared. You're not coming? Yoren shook his head. I'll lead them away. Rin stepped forward. You'll die. Maybe, Yoren said, smiling softly, but not as a coward this time. He turned and walked into the darkness. And for the first time, Rin didn't hate him. She watched him go and whispered, Thank you. The sky broke open. A human ship, big, silver, marked with Earth's flag, pushed through the clouds like a savior from heaven. Rin fell to her knees. Jake stared in silence. We made it, Rin whispered, her voice shaking. They came for US, but Jake didn't smile. He didn't move. He narrowed his eyes. Something was wrong. Very wrong. 12 hours earlier, Jake. Rin. And Yoren's chip had led them through secret tunnels beneath the old alien base. They found the hidden hangar. Dark, dusty, silent. And in the center, behind an energy gate, an old human distress beacon. Jake activated it. It flashed once. Twice. Then sent the signal. This should bring someone, he said. Earth watches for these beacons. We just need to wait. They took turns sleeping. Jake held Rin while she rested. She whispered, "What if no one comes?" Jake looked at her, voice quiet. "Someone will." He wanted to believe it. He needed to believe it. Now as the ship lowered into the jungle clearing above them, they both felt hope again. The ship's ramp opened with a hiss. 3 armored humans stepped out, but they moved. Wrong. No emotion. No calls. No hand signals. Rin took a step forward, and Jake grabbed her arm. "Don't," he said sharply. She looked at him, confused. "Why? It's our people." Jake raised his weapon. "I don't think it is." The nearest soldier stepped closer. Then his voice came out mechanical, cold. "Human life form identified. Prepare for retrieval." Jake aimed. "Say her name." Silence. Then again, same voice. "Human life form identified. Prepare for retrieval." Rin's smile faded. Jake's jaw clenched. "They're not real soldiers." He growled. He shot. The helmet cracked open, and instead of a human face, there were wires. An alien control node. Puppet. More soldiers poured out of the ship. Weapons charged. Rin ducked behind a rock. Jake fired again and again, but they kept coming. "They took one of our old ships," he said. "Rebuilt it. Used it as bait." "Then we were never going home," Rin said softly. "Not yet," Jake answered. They ran back into the jungle. The ship's engines roared behind them. Jake threw a grenade over his shoulder. It exploded, but barely slowed the machines. "We can't outrun them," Rin shouted. Jake reached into his vest, pulled out one last signal flare. He looked at her. "I have one idea, but it's insane." "I'm listening," she said. He fired the flare straight into the sky. High above, orbiting the planet, a real Earth patrol ship had been searching. The flare triggered an alert. A captain looked at the screen and frowned. "Unknown beacon," she said. "That's not from our system." Her second officer leaned in. "Could be survivors," she nodded. "Send a drone fast." Back in the jungle, Jake and Rin were surrounded. No more cover. The machine soldiers closed in. Rin grabbed Jake's hand. Jake smiled weakly. "I'm not dead yet." Then a sound filled the air like a scream from the clouds. A massive pulse slammed into the jungle. Trees exploded. The alien ship was hit by a beam of blue light from the sky. It spun. It burned, and it crashed into the trees. Torn apart, Rin covered her head. Jake pulled her close, and when the dust cleared, a small human drone hovered above them. It spoke in a calm female voice. "Rescue confirmed. Hold position." Rin laughed. This time, it was real. But inside the wrecked alien ship, something blinked. A file. A recording. It had been sent the moment the drone fired. A message. Headed straight for deep space. With Rin's name, her blood, her DNA, and a single note. "The experiment is complete. Begin phase 2. Rin used to wake up from nightmares. Now, she woke up as one. The medical lights were soft. The bed was warm. But her skin felt cold. Too cold. She blinked slowly. White walls, clean air. A real human doctor standing nearby, smiling gently. "You're safe now," he said. But Rin didn't smile back. She sat up fast. No pain. No weakness. Jake was asleep in the chair next to her, bruised but alive. He looked peaceful for the first time in days. "Where are we?" Rin asked, voice sharper than before. "You're aboard the UHS Mercy," the doctor replied. "Rescue ship." You've been asleep for 2 days. Rin looked down at her arms. No bruises, no scars, your body, the doctor said slowly, has changed. Rin froze. Changed how? Later, in a private room, she stood in front of a mirror. She didn't recognize herself. Her eyes had tiny golden lines in them now. Her skin was smoother, faster to heal. When she touched the wall with her fingertips, a screen turned on by itself. Her body responded to tech. Alien tech. They did this to me. She thought. Back in the lab, back when they tortured her, back when she thought they were breaking her, they were building something, and she had no idea why. Jake sat with her in the ship's lounge. He had a cup of warm tea, a bandage on his forehead, and that same tired smile. You're different, he said gently. Ryan nodded. I feel it. I remember what they did now. They weren't just testing pain. They were mapping my brain, my DNA, changing my cells. Jake leaned forward. But why? Rin's hand hovered near a panel. The ship's lights dimmed without her touching it. I think they were making a weapon. Jake frowned. You? She looked at him, quiet. No, not a weapon to destroy. A weapon to control. Back on the alien homeworld, deep inside a glowing chamber, alien leaders gathered. A giant screen showed Rin's face. One of them, wrapped in metal armor, spoke. She is alive. Stronger than expected. Another nodded. She must be retrieved. A third hissed. No, she must be studied further. If we can create more like her, we can control human emotion. Break their resistance. The leader raised a hand. Then send the next phase. On the human ship, alarm sounded. Jake and Rin ran to the control room. The captain turned. An alien signal just entered orbit. Small ship. Fast. Too fast. Rin closed her eyes. I can hear it. What? Jake said. She pointed to her head. They linked something in me. I can feel when they're close. The captain asked, do you want to hide? Rin looked out the window, eyes glowing faintly. No. Rin stepped into the docking bay alone. The alien ship landed. Quiet as a whisper. A single figure stepped out. Not a soldier. Girl. Young, scared, just like Rin used to be. She looked half human. Half something else. Rin stared. They started. Another test, she whispered. I wasn't the only one. Jake stepped beside her. What are you going to do? Rin looked at the frightened hybrid girl. I'm going to protect her. Like you protected me. Later, Earth's leaders gathered. They watched footage of Rin moving through data files faster than any AI, speaking alien languages no one had taught her, guiding ships through wormholes. With only her mind, she wasn't just a survivor anymore. She was the bridge. A living key. Not a weapon, not a monster, but something new, something human. And beyond, Jake walked with her near the edge of the ship's viewing deck. So what now? He asked. Rin looked at the stars. They changed me, Jake. Tried to use me. But they made one mistake. Jake raised an eyebrow. What's that? She smiled. They didn't think a human would come back. For me. She took his hand. Now I'm going to make sure they never touch another soul again.